Hello and welcome to Stretford, Paddock. Manchester United 3, Leicester 0. This is the post-match review looking at that game. I'm joined by Ronaldo and I'm joined by Ryan Hopper as well, up the RH of course. 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw, 5 goals scored, 3 goals scored. A little platform has been built by Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's come in, he's done exactly what we hoped he would do. He's steadied the ship and he's left it on course for Ruben Amorim to take over, Ronny.
Yeah, a lot of numbers you've thrown at me there, innit? But
a few numbers
it's true. What 3 wins, 1 draw. He's come in and he's steadied the ship. What I have noticed is there's been a different type of solidity to United. He's made us a little bit more compact. There's been sometimes an occasional pragmatism, but I thought today was one of those performances where it was professional and it was controlled. I don't think Leicester really created too much. I think they huffed and puffed at times, which any team in the Premier League will do. But I think it was a comfortable performance, and it shows the level that we can get to when we can beat teams like this at a canter, in my opinion. And I think that's what the best sides in the league need to be capable of. And I think we've shown that today. And it makes me a little bit more excited with players coming back. We've got an international break as well, and then Ruben coming in. And with the league being so tight, we've still got a shot at making a charge towards top 4. Yeah. But I think today was a pretty steady performance, and a professional is probably the best way to describe it. And I will have a special shout out to Ugarte. I thought Ugarte was outstanding today. I don't think it's any coincidence that he's played better with alongside Casemiro in a double pivot, because he's not a single pivot 6 like many people thought. When you give him the license to go and hunt players, be aggressive, be a shrink kicker, and then also what it then breeds, it breeds confidence, because then that type of confidence then leaked into his on the ball play. Yeah, but he was really good on the ball today, stepping in. His pass to Garnacho on his left foot was brilliant, driving with the ball, and could say shout out to Dillit as well. I thought Dillit was solid, and Mazraoui, he feels like he can't put a foot wrong at the minute.
Yeah, brilliant. You mentioned before how tight the league is, Ryan. We're looking at this table now. United are in 13th, which is obviously horrendous. You know, 5 points, 5 places worse than our worst ever finish last season, which was 8th, obviously. And yet, we're 4 points off 3rd. Like, the way that the league is sort of condensed with the likes of Arsenal and Tottenham, Arsenal and City dropping more points than usual. United, if we have 3 good games, we might be, touching Man City, let alone...
Yeah, it depends on what others do.
Bottom half. Yeah. Of course it depends on what others do, but, we're in in a really odd position here, aren't we? There's literally 9 teams between us and top 4, and yet, a few weekends go our way, and we're sniffing around there. It's weird how close it is, isn't it?
I think it's just a testament to how good the Premier League is in terms of the teams and how close it is. And like you said, we're in 13th at the moment. We're 4 points off 4th.
Yeah.
And we could go
4 points off 3rd.
Off 3rd, which is it's wide open. And like you said, we've got the international break now. And then it's Ruben's time to come in and stamp his authority on the team and hopefully have a good run. But just a big credit to Ruud, steadying the ship like we've all said. Great respect to him as a player, and also obviously stepping on the interim basis. Great results, and it'd be interesting to see what happens for the future with Ruud. But steadied the ship, done really well, and it was a 3-0 win. We move on now.
Yeah, 3-0 as well is just that sort of scoreline where it's not a battering, but it means that watching those last few minutes of the game, we could genuinely just be confident. We didn't have to. There was no worries in those last few minutes where so many times under Ten Hag, the number of goals we've scored just wasn't good enough. In this, even at 2-0, there was always a chance. Once that 3rd one went in, we were laughing and joking for those last sort of few minutes and stoppage time. I think it's such a important thing to have games like that, because also I think at that time as well we saw some subs happen as well where you can just sort of chill out. It's just such a difference, and I think winning these games comfortably are what sets you up for the next game and the next game and the next game. So too often we're playing to 100% going into the last few seconds of a game, because otherwise the opposition's going to have a chance. I think it was really good, a really good performance today. Going through some of the numbers, like you mentioned, Ronaldo, it wasn't dominant. United didn't batter him. It wasn't chance after chance after chance. 13 shots, only 3 on target for United, and yet we've won 3-0. Looking at the quality of those chances as well, if we look at expected goals, 0.7 for United, and we've scored 3. and that's like the absolute inverse of what we've seen.
Was it like a
this
zero
season so far?
0.1 for Garnacho's goal?
Garnacho's goal was 0.03.
Because he did look a little bit despondent even when he did score.
Yeah.
Probably wanted to start. He knows he's having a bit of a difficult period the past few games. Been getting a lot of criticism, so obviously that goal will be good for his confidence and that. Because I did think against Paddock, he did look a little bit short of confidence when he did start as well. But and obviously he had a couple of difficult moments when he first come on as well, tripping over the ball, giving the ball away. But just shows his mentality that he keeps going and he does score. Because people saying Garnacho does have more impact against tired legs when he comes on. He's really good as a substitute. But the problem is Rashford's performances when he's starting now aren't enough to justify him starting ahead of Garnacho. So then you've got that issue of Garnacho probably better when he doesn't start, but then when Rashford started, he's not playing well enough to keep Garnacho out of the team. So hopefully what would be ideal would be just both players playing well.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
That would be great, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I think for the goals as well, lads, is like it's pleasing because obviously Bruno's is a nice finish outside the box, little whip finish, and obviously the own goal and Garnacho's, great goals. I think just to add another point on the Ruud stuff as well. I know we've gone off topic, but even just to see his passion, it's very refreshing as well. He knows what it means, to be a player and also in an interim be around the club and manage a club. I think that's been something that I've taken out of obviously his interim managerial sort of stuff, is that refreshingness, that passion, with that rapport with the fans. I think that's very undervalued as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. Another player that was fantastic today, I think he was all of our man of the match, was Manuel Ugarte. Someone who has had a bit of people questioning his overall quality, and some of that I think maybe is rightly so from what we'd seen in those first few games. But I thought today he was brilliant. And just looking at his numbers, 92% pass success rate, 6 tackles as well, which is a lot. Anything more than 2 or 3, and it's sort of elite numbers. 3 interceptions, 7 ball recoveries. He won 10 duels as well, which is only Amad Diallo won more than him. Just a fantastic performance all around from him. And like you said, it almost looked like, because he was winning those tackles, 6 tackles, and there was points where he's flicking the ball with his back heel into his own run, and he's getting a bit of momentum going, isn't he?
Yeah, it's definitely. I already said. To begin with, about Ugarte. Yeah, I was impressed with him. I said to begin the live. I was like, I thought he was brilliant, and I think you're seeing the best of him when he's got a Casemiro next to him that can almost shoulder that kind of defensive responsibility in terms of shielding and allowing Ugarte to use his best attributes, which is to almost be like a greyhound, almost to hunt players down, be aggressive, be tenacious with your tackles, and then also like driving with the ball when he gets it as well. And not having to worry about space being left behind him because Casemiro was covering. I think Ugarte has shown how good he can be in a double pivot, and we got to hope that these performances like today become a consistent
How does that work then when Mainu gets back? Does that work when Mainu gets back?
Don't know, we'll have to see. Who knows? The proof will be in the pudding, because obviously it's going to be a complete different system. Obviously Amorim does play with a 2. Who knows, Mainu could end up being one of the 10s, but I still think, as good as Mainu is, and he's 19, we still don't necessarily need him to be playing every single game and starting every single game. It's the same thing that we're talking about with Garnacho. So having a lot of options and almost being spoilt for choice is definitely a good thing. Yeah. 2 other players then. Tiemann mentions me with a super chat. Thank you. They say, no one talks about De Ligt. Easy top 5 centre-back in the Prem. We robbed Bayern for him and Mazraoui. Whether he's a top 5 centre-back in the Premier League or not, he was very good again today, and he's been very good in almost every game, hasn't he?
No, I thought he was brilliant today. His positional awareness, like we've said on the stream, firefighting everything that come near him. He seems to be putting out them fires. Very calm, very composed on the ball. Yeah. And Mazraoui, I think he's been United's best player this season. I think he's been a great signing. I think on the ball, very calm, very composed. Decision making's great, but off the ball, like 1v1 duels, he always seems to be, coming out, victorious. And both of them individuals were brilliant today, and like Ronnie mentioned as well, Ugarte needs massive credit as well because his overall game was fantastic as well.
Wasn't it? I think looking at De Ligt and Martinez, who again Martinez just puts in a very good shift and kind of goes under the radar. One thing that I like about both of their games is the passes into the final third and the way that they can actually break through the lines with their passing. It's not just a out to the full-backs and they
yeah.
have to do it all themselves. Martinez made 10 passes into the final third in today's game, more than anyone else on the pitch. And De Ligt got 5 as well. I think under Amorim, where he likes his players often to bypass the midfield, they'll ping it straight into the striker's feet and he can lay it off to those 10s or through the lines into the 10s. I think Martinez and De Ligt are going to be massive for that system, personally. Do you, Ronny?
Yeah, they will. There were some good performances today. I think Martinez and De Ligt, because I didn't even mention Martinez, but he was good today as well.
Yeah.
And when he went out to left back, he was solid also. It's obviously on the flip side of it, Højlund, I think, struggled a lot today, and then Rashford didn't have a great game. And Rashford, the difference between Rashford and Garnacho, I think Rashford, his head gets down a little bit, his chin drops a little bit easier than Garnacho. I think if Rashford doesn't start a game well, or he goes through a little bit of a difficult patch in a game, I think it just disrupts his whole rest of his performance. I think he doesn't deal with adversity the greatest, and that might be him putting a little bit too much pressure on himself at times. And then Garnacho come on, and he didn't have bits of his play wasn't the best, but what he does have is he keeps going, and he keeps trying, and then he gets his reward in the end of it. But as I said, I'd rather work out how our front three and the best composition of it will be, because obviously Ahmad's played well in the past couple of games, but it's almost not in a way of we've got all of our forwards firing, so who's playing. It's almost like trying to fit in players that aren't playing their best and what actually works, because people have their question marks about Xerxes as well. Even though I think Xerxes came on and I think he did better than Højlund did, I think he linked up the play a little bit better. And obviously you've got 2 completely different striker profiles, so I guess you can kind of rotate them, but we definitely need someone that's going to be banging them in, so that we don't having to rely on the likes of Casemiro to get our goals, etc. So
I think Ahmad, Ronny just said about Ahmad today, I think he started the game off really well. He showed spells where he's very positive, great in tight areas, great feet, obviously coming inside, getting shots off. I think that's what the difference was. I think Marcus didn't really have many moments of that. He was very inverted, playing into Højlund's feet. We never really seen him get at players today, but Ahmad positive again. He was in and out of games. If he would have maintained what he did at the start of the game throughout the game, he probably would have been up there, for player of the match as well. But I think he was in flitters, whereas Agate was brilliant. But some good positive performances. Some like Ronny said there about Højlund. Obviously, probably need to have a look at that in a bit more detail and stuff. But yeah, positive 3-0 win at the end of the day. We roll on.
If I'm Amorim, one of the big things I'm looking at is how do I get my strikers to have more shots, regardless of whether it's Højlund or Xerxes. How do we create space and chances for that person in the middle? Because at the minute, I do think there's something that we're struggling with.
It's also on the onus is also on the striker as well. Do you know what I mean?
Whether for whatever reason, whether it's getting Højlund to do different things, whether it's giving him the ball more, it's just how does Amorim make our strikers have more shots?
I think at the moment,
whatever he needs to do it.
I think at the moment our success is coming from the wide areas and cutting inside and getting shots off. I think that's where most of the goals are coming from. Like today, Bruno was in that sort of left-hand side position, whipped far post. Same with Garnacho. I don't think. Same position, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't think our strikers. When did Højlund get like a little, say, an opportunity within the 6-yard box or outside the box? He doesn't. So maybe, like you said, I think we need to. Ruben and his staff need to obviously think of ways to utilise that.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm honest, you're looking at them two inside forward or inside 10s as Ruben plays. They don't suit Garnacho or Rashford. They suit Ahmad a little bit because he's got that 10 in him. Probably suits Mount. Obviously, you got Bruno, maybe a Mainu. It's just interesting to see how he kind of almost is it like a Dorito. Or a triangle that he's going to have there, and what he actually picks.
You see a triangle, you just think Dorito.
That's how hungry I am.
Yeah.
I'm honest to God.
Yeah, rather than a sort of, what would you call it, like a skittle? I mean, circle, some people might call it.
Would this not, obviously, if Xerxes and Højlund are not firing, would this be the time where Marcus plays as a 9?
Who knows?
Maybe, or
that's what I'm saying. Like, this, I'm not absolving Højlund from any responsibility when I say that. I just think. Who, for whatever reason, whether it's the runs he isn't making or the runs he is making aren't the right ones, whether the balls aren't going to him enough, whether we don't stretch play and then cut things back properly, whatever it is, your number 9 has to get more service and has to be taking more shots. combination of things, I'm sure, as it always is. But I think Amorim has to find, he's got Gyökeres having 4, 5, 6 shots a game. And partly that's because of how good Gyökeres is, but I think the system suits a number 9 more, and that Amorim has to come in and find ways, whether it's encouraging Højlund or encouraging his teammates or both, to get our strikers more shots.
I don't think Rashford's a 9. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he can deputise there. He's just a left winger, out and out, but he just needs to obviously get his performance level back. I think he had a decent start to the season. I think his past few games has fell off a little bit, and he's just become a little bit of a confidence player though. When his confidence ain't there, unfortunately you see performances like today. But other than that, I think the low wasn't the best, but I think that our best performers of recent weeks have been our defenders, the likes of Mazraoui and Martinez and De Ligt. And I think Onana's been solid.
Yeah, so I think
just a quick quote from Bruno Fernandes. He said that Garnacho scored a banger, but it didn't celebrate like he should because he thinks he's lost the faith from some fans. I told him people will always moan, but lots of people like you and enjoy what you do. I think everyone likes Garnacho. Doesn't mean he's not frustrating at times where he makes the wrong decisions or he has sort of immature parts of his game, but that's as we've always said, it's because he is immature. He's a 20-year-old. He's going to look like that at times. I don't think anyone's lost faith in him or doesn't like him as a player, and I hope, it's a shame that he feels like that.
Yeah, he's a young lad, and obviously mentality-wise, probably, needs to block that out and be bulletproof. Just on that point, what Ronnie said there, I think the reason why I mentioned Marcus at the 9 is to come up with a solution for the goal stuff. I don't see, at the moment, I don't see Højlund or Xerxes being a goal scorer. Yeah. I feel like. But yeah, that's not up to us. That's up to Ruben to come in and do what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Yep.
It's a good place to end it. Ruud van Nistelrooy's time comes to an end. We'll give him a grade.
Give him a grade.
Like we're at school.
He gets an A. Of course he does.
It's an A, isn't it?
It's an A.
It's an A.
It's an A.
Yep.
Steadies the ship. Ruben Amorim to come. We can almost see top 4 in the near distance.
It's in sight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in sight. So
there's 9 teams between us and it. But only 4 points.
Be done.
Not too bad. Right.
Can only win our games, man.
Exactly. And we're doing that. We'll hear from Stephen Howson shortly as well, so stick around to hear what he's got to say. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on.
No problem.
Thank you, Ronnie, as well.
Cheers.
Of course. Thank you at home. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Manchester United 3, Leicester 0. Amorim comes in tomorrow. Not too bad, eh? We'll see you in a bit.